in case you were wondering, how are things going with our government of national unity? Here's perhaps a little bit of sort of inside information. Not so inside, we all know it because it's in the press. The government, the leaders of the parties that are involved in the government of national unity have not met for nearly 6 months. The last time they met was at the beginning of May when they had the budget problem to resolve. And that was a short meeting. They were meant to have a bosberaad. They even told that wonderful dynamo, Patricia de Lille from the Good Party, to arrange the bosberaad, book venues, which she did. No sign of the president. Now, recently, President Cyril Ramaphosa did an interview with Mandy Wiener from 702, who's writing a book about the Government of National Unity deal. It's called The Deal, where he said that he lacks magic with John Steenhuisen, the magic that he had with Rolf Meyer when they went fishing together and they were together every day, hammering out Cadessa and the new constitution and that kind of magic. I presume the music plays and, the sunset, all of that sort of stuff. But he hasn't had that with John Steenhuisen. Well, perhaps the problem is that you haven't given it a chance. Maybe John's just as romantic as Rolf Meyer. You never know. John Steenhuisen says that he can't even get a 20-minute meeting with President Cyril Ramaphosa. Perhaps it's because President Cyril Ramaphosa is too busy fixing up the problems of Gaza to worry about the problems of South Africa. We've all wondered why there has been no replacement announced for the DA, Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Andrew Whitfield, that President Cyril Ramaphosa fired. Well, it's not for John Steenhuisen to appoint that Deputy Minister. These people, ministers and Deputy Ministers, are appointed by the President. So he can only put forward names, and the President then considers the names and says, well, I won't pick A, I'll pick B. They can't even get that meeting where he says, here are our candidates to replace Whitfield. Now, this isn't only a John Steenhuisen problem. Corné Mulder took over the leadership of the Freedom Front Plus and is yet to meet with the President. He contacted him after his controversial, so they say, trip to the US, where Corné Mulder went across there to speak to some business delegations. He then contacted President Cyril Ramaphosa as part of the GNU to say, look, I was in the US, let's meet to discuss what came of that meeting. And was sent a reply saying, don't speak to me, speak to the Department of Trade and Industry. This is one of your Government of National Unity partners. To make it worse, there isn't one agreement between the parties in the Government of National Unity. Each party's got their own agreement with the President. So it's not really a Government of National Unity. It was done once, and now there's no coordination. Everybody just goes about their business. And, they just never communicate. So there's no chance that you can build relationships or build an understanding. And just think of what's happened in the last 6 months. The economy has gone nowhere. The police chief is suspended or on leave or whatever. We've got another kind of policeman minister thing there. In the meantime, one of your senior cops has said politicians are involved in syndicates that sell drugs and murder people and assassinate political people. Nothing. You would have thought the first thing you do is speak to your partners in the Government of National Unity. But it seems like, as he has done in so many different ways, President Cyril Ramaphosa has checked out. He seems to have taken the role as South African foreign minister. He's all over the world, shitting on everybody, but not running South Africa. That seems to be what he does at the moment. So his GNU partners unable to get a meeting with President Ramaphosa or to sit around a table. Well, I tell you what, it's crazy. So let's look at the rest of South Africa. How's this for a nice story? There's a secretary to the Limpopo legislature, Timothy Make. Now, this guy holds a PhD from the University of Limpopo. And he was brought in to go in a delegation for a summit in Gambia. What Limpopo is going to do in a summit in Gambia, I don't know. But anyway, they decide that Timothy Marke is a good guy to have to go to the summit in Gambia. Well, this gentleman decided that when he got his plane tickets, business class, Qatar Airways, that he was very unhappy because they didn't include his PhD. In other words, they didn't refer to him as Dr. Marke. So he cancelled the tickets. And he did it again. 3 sets of tickets were booked. In each case, Qatar Airlines said they don't put doctors for academic qualifications because there might be a confusion with a medical doctor that you might need on a flight. But not for Mr. Marke. I think what we've got to do is on purpose not to refer to him as doctor. But how bad is that? That this chap thinks that he is so important that one of the biggest airlines in the world must make a concession for him because he got a doctorate from the University of Limpopo. I understand he's not actually in the Limpopo legislature. The person who was responsible for that was the speaker in Limpopo legislature, Makome Murepechi, who apparently is very close to Timothy Marke. This cost you and I, taxpayers, 1.8 million rand, because not only his ticket had to be rebooked, everybody's had to be rebooked. They also booked accommodation, they booked the whole shooting box. And there's no direct flights to Gambia. You've got to go via. Do we really need these kind of people anywhere close to the public purse? But I suppose in Limpopo, where your choices are the ANC or the EFF, this kind of waste of taxpayer money is going to happen without anybody doing anything about it. And we remember the now head of the Premier of Limpopo, Poppy Ramathupa, when she was head of health in Limpopo, was kicking foreigners out of hospitals because scarce resources. But they're happy to waste 1.8 million rand without going on a flight. This is crazy. But we can't go to the president because we can't find him. There's nobody in Limpopo that will respond. It's just a mess. Thank you for joining us on The Political Insider. Make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. We will come back with more information as it breaks. Thank you very much.